Ladies and gentlemen, in this video we are going to look at the greatest chess game that you have never heard of. That's right, you've never heard of it. And why is that so? Because it wasn't played by the great Garry Kasparov, nor by Bobby Fischer, nor by Magnus Carlsen, nor by Levy Rosman, not even by Hans Neimann. And if that's the case, then the chance that you'll have heard of it is actually quite low, and pretty much that's what you're looking for. Not until you've come to this channel, and now you'll get a chance to look at it. This game was so good that I have a feeling that once you've gone through it, you'll actually conclude and rank it highly amongst your best ever chess games amongst the immortals. And in addition to that, move number 15 in this game features one of the greatest chess moves ever. I think so. I'm not a weak player. I'm a national champion and a chess Olympian, and I think that that move was that good. So join me as we go through this game. So this game was played in the tiny East African country that you definitely have heard of. That country is called Kenya, and it was played between international master Elijah Mojong, who is the first ever international master in East Africa, and Mehul Gohil, who went on the subsequent year. This was in 2018. In 2019, he became the national champion in Kenya. He is not a weak player. I've given him a title of NM. We don't have those titles in Kenya. In 2018, I won the national championship. In 2019, Mehul Gohil was the national champion. So he's not a weak player at all, even when he loses in this way. His rating this year was 1999 FIDE, and Mojong's rating was 2296. Now, here's a caveat. African chess players, especially in East Africa, are generally underrated by at least 100, probably 200 Elo points. Please take that to the bank. You can look at my games on the Chess Olympiad and then check whether it's actually rated 2000, which is what was rated at that time. So this game starts with the move e4. e4 is a very natural move, and of course Mehul plays something good. He plays a decent move. Wait, he played knight f6, the Alekhine. Seriously, I think this is pretty much almost refuted, except that Magnus Carlsen played it, and therefore if Magnus Carlsen played it, it's sound. Wait, Magnus Carlsen also plays a bomb cloud. So okay, scrap that. I think because of the 4 pawns attack, the Alekhine really should be written off, and I don't think you should get a draw if you play the Alekhine. But again, that is me. Other people have different opinions about it. e5 correctly played, knight d5, and now Elijah Mojong is going to play d4, follows up with c4 and f4, right? Because this is how you meet this funny line of chess, isn't it? And many things can happen from here, right? That's what Elijah Mojong plays. No, he doesn't play that. Instead, he plays knight c3, and this is picked now. Of course, d takes c3. This looks unnatural because you're taking away from the center, but this move also opens up for your bishop. Your queen has direct access to the center, and in fact, this is a pretty strong move. If we look at what happens in the Ruy Lopez, for example, after knight f3, sorry, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop takes c6, then normally one of the better moves is actually d takes c6. Just to show you what I'm talking about, it's just colors reverse in this situation. Instead of playing something like the Alekhine, you play a more serious move like e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, picks. Then picking this way is actually a pretty decent move, keeps your pawns very strong, as opposed to when you pick this way, when you have an isolated pawn here, and other factors. Of course, both of these are possible, but the more realistic move is what we've spoken about. So essentially, this is why in this position, international master Elijah Mojong, who is a pretty strong player, of course, picks with the d pawn. And the game continues. d6, very sound move. Knight f3, developing a knight, protecting the e5 pawn, but of course you cannot pick on e5 because then you'll never castle. After queen takes d8, I mean something like this, then you'll probably never castle, and that is done. So The better move, Mehul plays g6, very sound move, planning to fianchetto your bishop. Fianchetto is when you make this triangle position, then put your bishop on the long diagonal, guarding these other squares, so that's pretty sound. And I am Elijah plays bishop c5, c4, sorry, bishop c4, and the bishop is out. Long diagonal already putting some pressure on the weak f7 square. This square in general in chess is considered a little bit weak, but also is getting ready to castle, and this is a pretty strong chess being played. Bishop goes where it intended to, and now Emojong is going to castle. Wait, no, he doesn't castle. He plays knight g5. Now, if you've studied chess and you're starting out, you've been told, please, 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 don't move your pieces out more than once before you finish your development. And in this instance, Emojong breaks that rule, yet is an international master. So automatically, you know that if this pawn is attacked on f7, you have a natural move, which is just to castle, because now again, if you pick here, rook picks, bishop picks, king picks, and you have two pieces for a rook. And in this situation, black would just be much better. And if I turn on the engine, I don't know if you're able to see that. Let me just do an infinite analysis. Where is that? There it is. And then go back to Streamlabs somewhere and allow you to see what's going on. You can see from there right now that in fact white black is much better. But actually castling here is a horrible mistake, because instead of picking on f7, white is going to play this absolutely beautiful move. And now, as you can see from the engine evaluation, white is much better. Why is that so? Because if you are to pick here, which is probably something that you must do, then picks, if the king moves to h8, this is a fork attacking the king and the queen. You must give up your rook, and already you're not doing very well in that situation. And oh, even better actually. I didn't even realize this. I'm seeing it now. You can actually start with this attack. I didn't see that. But then if you pick here, then this is a fork, and already this is completely winning for white already. So either way, this is a pretty strong plan that is coming up right now. And if you play maybe say f6, then the knight comes to f7, and already you're in serious trouble, because the only move you can play is probably this, and you must probably begin to think about giving up your bishop in this situation. If you just move away, then h4 is coming, the rook is going to be open for, and this position is pretty tough already for black. So castling is not possible in this position, and Mehul is no slouch, and he doesn't castle, so he plays the best move according to the engine. Position is still equal in this situation, but then look at that tender position on f7. I told you this is weak, and so how can you add pressure to that square? In fact, it's move 8, and already at move 8, white is threatening checkmate. So if you play a random beginner's move like this, then suddenly this happens, and it's clearly checkmate. So that has to be stopped. So in this position, black played queen to e7, but queen to e7 is a slight inaccuracy. Why? Because the queen, yes, has to protect f7, but if you look at what has happened, the f6 square is a bit weak. It's a bit weak because this pawn has moved, this pawn that was back here has moved, and this pawn has also moved. So when these two pawns have moved, then it means that only pieces can defend that square. And now Emojong plays the absolute best move, knight e4, engine stop move. This move sacrifices a pawn. It's the first sacrifice of many to come in this game. Now, why is that so? Because immediately you gain a tempo on the queen, bishop to g5, and this is why the queen was better here as opposed to this, because if the queen were here, then this move doesn't come with tempo. You're no longer attacking the queen, and black can play something else. As it is now, because the queen is on e7, now the queen has to move a second time when this bishop has come in. So Mehul plays the best top engine move, queen to e8. Of course, queen to e7 blocks your knight, blocks your bishop, and in some ways can fall into a tactic here. If you play the queen here, then this tactic is possible in some instances if the bishop is not around, and therefore it looks a bit safe to just play your queen to f8, which is what Mehul played. Now, The next move is a cryptic move. I haven't fully understood what it is yet. I have ideas why this move is good, and it's exactly what Emojong plays. It's the absolute number one move according to the engine. Most of us will very quickly play knight to f6, which doesn't look bad, and follow to this move, which is a bit of a mistake. Queen takes f6. But for some reason, engines are nasty and says Emojong. The Stockfish 15 and Emojong are thinking along the exact same lines. Emojong is very lucky he's not called Hans Neimann Emojong, because in this place, Emojong plays engine stop move. Bishop b5. You would wonder why would you play such a move, because obviously there's such a move which then forces the bishop to move back all the way. If you move to b5, if you move to f4, then b5 can follow. If you come back, then why did you go to b5? But in fact, Emojong's intention is not actually to move that bishop, is to cause this pawn to come here and block the king, and also stop this knight from coming to his natural square and just congest all of black's pieces. And now that that has been done, he plays a move knight f6. Again, you cannot just move your king into this x-ray where the bishop is attacking it, because immediately you have a very simple move, knight h7, and the queen is lost. Whether you come here, bishop picks. If you play here, knight picks, and that loses the game on the spot. So you have to think of something else, and that something else is to just take off the knight, and then the queen now picks on f6, and for the second time in 13 moves, white is threatening checkmate, and that checkmate is on d8, or if the queen comes to e7, queen takes e7 is going to be checkmate. So basically here or here if the queen comes to block. And so the only move that black can play in this position, you can see, is king to d7. King to d7, now the bishop is under attack. Of course, the king is in the center, so black can slowly play by bringing this bishop to e2 or to a4 once again. I don't think c4 makes sense, or d3. So what would you play if you are black? Again, if you are white, again you can see the engine evaluation is recommending Emojong is channeling the engine, and this is Stockfish 15. This game was played back in 2018. 2018 Stockfish 15 didn't exist, and so he wasn't really working on this, and he just plays the absolute best move, which is castle queenside. Now I'm going to turn off the engine here for a moment, because something interesting is about to happen, and I need you to take your time and figure out what the best move is going to be. So in this position that we have here, Mehul took the bishop. I mean, why not? Really, if you're a grandmaster, if you're a master, if you're a strong player, think through this minus an engine and just tell us what you think is the best move. Actually, in this position, white has only one move that wins. Every other move either draws or loses. So think about it for a moment. What move would you play here as white? Pause the video, take your time. I recommend strongly you don't unpause until you have the answer. And this is move number 15, and in my opinion, this is one of the greatest moves of chess ever played, ever. And Stockfish agrees. First, is the only move. White has just sacrificed. They've just sacrificed a piece, and you'd imagine he has to play quickly, because okay, black is a bit tied up, but you can imagine he can probably play a move like king f7, king c7, bring the knight out, maybe b6, bring this guy out. In this position, ladies and gentlemen, I am Emojong thought for 30 minutes, I kid you not, 30 minutes, then uncocked the absolutely outstanding, not rook takes d6, that's a mistake, but the absolutely outstanding move a4, double exclamation mark. Do we have a triple exclamation mark? You take your time, now that I've told you the move, to understand why that move should be played. Pause the clock again, work out the variations, and if you can work them out, then congratulations, you can think like Emojong, and you can think like Stockfish 15. Otherwise, like the rest of us, we just sit down and be amazed at why this move. So the first thing that I'm assuming you've paused, okay, so I'm just coming to it right away. If you pick, then you have this move, And when this is played, then this is a sequence that I've already just followed through, and these are the absolute best moves that have to be played, and really this is the eventual sequence of moves. Again, you can just check back, black is and white is much better here. Just go through. I'm just highlighting those moves because it will take a very long time, but this is really the reason. And so it's necessary in this position for white to play f4, because after this is picked, then now when d5 is played, then now you have the square, you have this move c4. You cannot play this move when you still have the pawn sitting on. If this pawn is still here and d5 is played, then it's not possible at all. So again, so if we know that we need to keep this pawn on b5, why not then just protect that pawn and just play a6, for example, which is pretty slow. Well, this is now when the next shocker hits you. Now in this position, you can actually pause for a moment and see what you can play. The move that you have to play here is 3, 2, 1, rook takes. And that rook can be picked by one of two pieces. If the king picks, it's checkmate in 10. If the queen picks, it's a +8 position. Black is as good as losing the queen. So I'll just show you a couple of sequences. Okay, queen picks this, rook to d1, attacking the queen. You pick the queen, I pick back. Let's say, how do you save your rook, which is under attack right now? Let's move it down here, and then probably this is checkmate in okay, already you're losing the rook, so you can already see this is pretty bad. And where else? Let's say you can't move. You can't move here, you're still losing the rook. It's pretty bad all round. If you play here, queen picks, and you're pretty much losing whichever way you look at it. So that is pretty obvious. And if the king picks, then rook to d1, and this is a very interesting line actually. This is a fantastic king walk. 30 minutes of thought to figure out most of these lines. Queen f3, king c7, bishop c4, king b6, and now a fantastic move which is possible simply because f was played, a5. And of course you cannot move back because queen comes to you can't move to a7, queen comes to e3. If you do this, queen comes to e3, you must block, and this is checkmate. Of course you could have brought your queen in between and still lose, so you must pick this pawn. And after picking this pawn, again bishop check, king has to block, check, king moves to a4, and now the cool come and collected, king b2. You must sacrifice your queen. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. You must sacrifice your queen, and even that is not enough because the mate still exists. King picks, queen comes, and now you can either checkmate with the rook on a1 or queen on a3, both of which are checkmate. I like the queen a3 checkmate better. So really, a6 doesn't work. So then the question you'll ask is, then why do you have to play a4 before a6? Why not just before rook takes d6? Why not just rook takes d6 right away? Let's look at that. Rook takes d6, and then in this instance the king can pick and calmly run away. You now don't have the moves that you had before, moves like a5, and now you play f4, but black can just calmly pick that pawn, and now the queen comes attacking the a4 pawn, and you can play a fantastic move here, which is b6. b6 move is a nice trap. Looks like the rook is hanging, but if you pick the rook, then a nasty surprise awaits you when the bishop simply moves to b7. So you cannot pick that rook, but instead of that, you actually can bring a second piece into the attack, threatening checkmate. When you pick this pawn on f1 and follow up with queen c3, for example, a weak move like this, then you'll have that move being played, queen comes here, king comes there, and then queen c4 is checkmate. But fortunately for black, they have a very nice queen sacrifice in this position, and when you pick on f4, they just give you a queen, and you pick back and they tell you, yes, I've given your queen, do your worst. And here, if you know chess, you know that actually black is better than equivalent to a piece up plus a couple of pawns up. And if I were just to show you the evaluation in this position, then you'll see that in fact black is better. So that is not what happened in this game. What Mehul did, Mehul is a strong player as I've indicated before. He did not pick the bishop. I know they worked out everything, he probably did not, but he actually saw that there's a bit of trouble coming in after a4. And instead he played the engine stop move. I'm not sure how far it was. He played king to c7, which was not the best move in that position. And now here, once again, pause the clock and pause the video and think again what Emojong did. The move he played is just the absolute stunner. Rook takes d6, rook takes d6. You can't attack the rook. If you pick with the queen, it's a very easy one. The rook is hanging, but no, the queen is also hanging. Bishop f4, and the queen is lost. And not just the queen, pretty soon, because of lack of development, a combination between the rook and the queen in a king that's in the center. Checkmate is coming, and this pawn has some play as well. And if you pick with the king, then now you are leaving yourself with queen, you're leaving your opponent with queen, bishop and rook, attacking a king, and this is pretty much game over. You is plus 11 position. Let me turn on the engine for you. You see that what's going on there? And yes, it's minus a plus 11 position, which is more than a queen down for the opponent. So the move that then is played here is well, he doesn't pick, but fortunately now he has a chance to develop a knight, and the knight is attacking the queen. And here again, white has only one move that does not lose. Every other move other than this one move loses the game completely, and black wins. Pause the video once again and figure out what was played. Actually, this game is amazing, and that move is rook takes d7, only move. And pretty much I think you can figure out the only move that's not checkmate is bishop picks. If the king picks, we made a move, then checkmate is following. Simple example is, let's say for example, just you can't leave it. If you leave it, queen comes to e5, checkmate follows. Pretty much I think this is self-explanatory. Bishop takes d7. And now in this case, check on the king, keeping the rook back at bay. It wasn't the best move. A better move was to bring rook to d1, and surprisingly that move was also completely winning. But bishop to f4 is what Levy had in mind. King to c8, then queen threatening checkmate on c7 square. The queen stopped that checkmate, and surprisingly I think this move is the computer's second choice. I want to show you that this is the second choice by the computer, but turns out it's a bit of a mistake here. It's the only inaccuracy in the game, but that inaccuracy is actually the computer's second move. Can you imagine that? And it's not that black is losing, white is losing, but white is not winning, and it's not winning because of an interesting sequence. Here in this position, the computer recommends the crazy give up the pawn, and then when the rook and the queen is forked, just move your queen out of the way and give out a complete rook in the corner, because then you can exchange off the queens, and with the queens off the board, you have opposite colored bishops, and the black king, yes, the rook is still in the corner, but this position is fairly safe, and white's advantage is pretty much cut, and black will draw the game. Again, this is not very easy to see. We are not computers. This is pretty hard to see. So instead of that, Mehul played the natural queen to f8. And when that was played, rook came up. This is the top engine move, rook to d1. f6, creating some space. Bishop takes f6. The rook moves up to d7. But I wonder whether in this position the best move was just to sacrifice the rook. This is what the computer recommends. You just play b6 to prolong the game. But in this position already, black is completely lost. But rook to b6 actually misses the point. And here again, there is only one move that wins for white. Only one. Any other move draws. The number of times when they are almost to be found, according to the engine, and Elijah Mojong just finds each and every one of those moves. So only one move to be found. Pause the video once again and find out this one move that was meant to be found. And that move, ladies and gentlemen, is a takes b4. Once again, enabled by the fantastic number 15 move a4. And if I once again come back and just show you, so you can see that in that position, and I'll probably leave the engine on now for the rest of the game, you'll see that if after that move, if only one move plus 9, every other move complete draw. Rook to d6 and some moves after that will probably be losing for white. So the only move that you can play is that move. And now the opponent plays a completely bad move, and the completely bad move is b6. And now Emojong plays the best move once again by the engine, Stockfish 15, and that move is queen e4, attacking the rook in the corner and threatening checkmate in just a few moves. In fact, in this position is mate in 17 being announced. Black plays the best move again, rook queen h6, which is check. King calmly moves away to b1, and now it's mate in 16. And then now the queen picks on f2, and here Emojong plays the final move of the game, which is basically rook takes d7, saying, okay, you know what, I don't need two rooks, I just need my bishop and my queen. And of course, I'm sure you can already see this, that if you pick the rook, then queen c6 is checkmate, and there's checkmate being threatened already on b7. And so if you bring a rook to stop that, this is still checkmate. And if you check me with your queen, I'll just move away. Yes, you're delaying the checkmate, but in reality, that's just a delay. It's not much that can be done. The checkmate is coming, and it's completely unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the absolute best games ever played in chess. I want to believe so. Leave it in the comment, your opinion about it, and let us know. This was in 2018, before Stockfish 15 was born, and you can see that in all this, I am Elijah plays pretty much Stockfish's top moves all the way, Stockfish 15's top moves all the way until I think very late on, when he allows a small inaccuracy by allowing a draw, but that draw is not easy to see. It's an amazing game that was played. Here is where the draw would happen, but only if you're very strong as a player. And in this case, an amazing game played. Yeah, leave it in the comments. What is your best game ever? What game do you think is better than this? And yes, it's played in Africa, but still it's an amazing game. Cheers. I hope it brings joy to you. Show it to your children, and show it to the senior guys. Let someone else come and analyze this game. Agadmeta, Levy Rosman. And well, he's a funny guy. We all watch him. Daniel Rodisky, all those. Actually, Levy, sort of, why don't you analyze this game more professionally, so we know what you think about it with all the drama? I think this for sure has to be one of the best games ever played ever. And the move number 15, a4, triple exclam, that move means a lot, and I wonder who can find such a move. He thought for 30 minutes, and the complexities around it, just crazy. I am Elijah Mojong versus Mehul Gohil, 1st April 2018, April Fools, but this is not April Fools. That is actually how the game went. Thank you very much. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down here.